Hello and welcome to another episode of Blackjack Movies Presents Sports. This is the weekly NFL football show that we bust down. I am joined once again by the man, the myth, the legend, Josh Cornell. What's up, Josh?
Hey, what's going on? It's been a long time.
Right? Season 3 now, though. This is the third season that we've been doing this, and we're going to switch it up a little bit, and I think we're going to try and put this thing on YouTube so they get to see our smiling faces this year. So, I don't know. We'll see how it goes. They get to see the shine, and we'll play with it, and we'll probably take off the comments for now because I don't need anybody like talking trash about all of this. So, we are going to go audio and video this year and get it started for you guys. We had to come out with a special episode today because it's one of those generational trades. It's one of those things that you don't ever see happen unless you're dealing with the Cowboys, basically, because they did in the early 90s, they did the Herschel Walker trade to the Minnesota Vikings, and it worked out in their favor, obviously, because they were able to get so many great players. And now, once again, they take a generational type player this time on the defensive side of the ball, and Micah Parsons, and they ship him to Green Bay. So in this episode, we're only going to talk about the trade, the ramifications for both the Cowboys, the Packers, and then the overall sense of what happens in the NFC now, especially in your division, because as a lifelong Bears fan, now you have something to worry about like we used to in Philly. So let's get down to it. First, general impressions of the trade. What'd you think?
Green Bay hit a gold mine. I mean, honestly, for what they gave up for Parsons is insane. They gave 2 first rounds, which half the time they don't draft that well in the first round anyway. And you give up aging Kenny Clark. So,
Right.
I mean, you're not losing a whole lot on that defensive line. And you're giving it over to Dallas. You've already been beaten the past, 3 years in the playoffs. You surrendered nothing. They haven't done anything in the first round for since they got Parsons. I mean, you're looking at Maisie Smith, who we don't even know what that's because he's been fizzling out most of the time. Tyler Smith, good tackle, but not like world beater. LVE, come on now.
Right.
He never even showed up. And neither did So I think you lose if you're with that trade.
Yeah, I'm with you. My first general impressions of it was the same as you. If you're the Cowboys, you definitely regressed. You got worse. Where you could have, and there was reports, last week, 2 weeks ago, that the Packers were offering 2 1s, 2 2s, and a player, which now we come to find out who it is. But it's like, if that was on the table, why would you not take that at that time if you were really ready to get rid of him? Or is it because of the antics that Parsons did in the last preseason game that just said, okay, it's over? Like, is it time and we just got to make it happen? But going back to the trade itself, yeah, 2 1s that will probably be in the later third of the first round. You're not even sending him to a place that you might have an opportunity to pull a top 10 pick. You are sending him to a place that you're going to be picking in the 20s. You'll be picking in the 20s. You also send them to a place that you're going to be having to go through if you're trying to get to the promised land. Like, why would you send him to any team in the NFC? Like, you might as well have sent him to Washington or Philly, by sending him to Green Bay. Like, that part I don't understand. Like, you can't tell me that there wasn't an AFC team somewhere, Pittsburgh, New England, somebody else had to have been on the phone with him. And it just is like, Dallas fans got to be hurting because you lose Luka in the NBA over some crazy deal, and now you lose Micah Parsons over some crazy deal. Like, it's not even, and the money that Green Bay gave him, while it's crazy, it's the going rate. Like, this is what the same money that the Cowboys were going to have to pay him too. So it's not like it's like, oh, they gave him $60 million a year or anything. No, they gave him, what was it, 45 a year or 46 a year? So like, it's, I don't know. It's interesting from the Cowboys' point of view. What about from the what do you think from the Packers though?
I was gonna say, if you want to put a devil's advocate here and uh, talk about how this could really affect the whole franchise for the next 8 to 10 years, if Jordan Love is not the guy, you're in trouble because you're coming up on having to pay both tackles on the offensive side, and then you've got a couple wide receivers you have to take care of as well.
Right.
I mean, and you don't have any to replace those guys for the next 2 years. So it could be crippling. It's all going to depend on Jordan Love. That's a lot of these deals. I mean, you're looking at Jordan Love and now taking up $100,000 of that. So it's a.
It's, I mean, the one thing I will say is that, it's a win first league, right? So they're not worried about cap hell coming in 3 years.
Oh no.
Their window is right now, and they know it because they, like you said, the tackles are coming up soon. That whole wide receiving core, while young, is going to come fast. Of like, people are going to want to get paid in the next 2 years, and so you have to strike while the iron's hot. And right now is that time for the Packers. Now, I think it definitely, to me, having that type of talent on the defensive side of the ball definitely makes the Packers the front runner in their division, where I thought they had a chance to, it was like a 3-horse race in my head. Like, I think the Bears are going to come make that step up because I think the offense is going to be very, like, doing some crazy things, right? With Ben Johnson leading that thing. I think the Lions are still going to be right there because Dan Campbell, and how we feel about him as a coach, is going to bring the best out of them, no matter if they're losing their coordinators or not. They might have a step down, and that's where I thought, okay, well, the Packers, would be right there. I think the Packers now take that step up, and they're, maybe a game, maybe 2 games better than the other two. And then you have the Vikings, looking up at all those teams.
Well, I think it's going to really depend on the rushing defense for Green Bay, because that's going to still suffer, especially getting rid of Kenny. And you have to face the 2-headed monster in Detroit, like
True.
twice. And Chicago hopefully will get a good running game this year. We'll see. Swift and that interior line will flip the script from last year.
Well, and I think, not to, because that'll be in our preview episode of the season next week, but I think with what the Bears did, both in free agency and the draft, I think they have definitely taken those strides to become one to be reckoned with. And I really do think that they're now in that second tier in that division, which, I think is a good place for them, because getting into the playoffs would be a major victory right now,
Sure.
right? Like, we don't, is it a Jaden Daniels situation or something like that where we're like, okay, now they're going to the Super Bowl? Probably not. But just getting into the mix, getting into the dance, I think that, that would be a step in the right direction for the Bears.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah.
Being able to break 500 is going to be a huge step, especially going from no coaching staff to a world-renowned coaching staff in my opinion.
For sure, yeah. And then it's crazy. Eberflus now in Dallas. He goes to Chicago. They trade Khalil Mack. He goes to Dallas. They trade Micah Parsons. That guy just can't catch a break.
And then I don't know if you heard Jerry Jones say, well, we're going to be able to scheme up pass rush.
And
As a Bears fan, that doesn't happen. It's just.
But I mean, you just don't have. Maybe they do. I don't know, but I don't think they have the dogs in Dallas right now to be able to do that. Like, you're going to now, like, take a major step back if you're Dallas. And maybe what they're trying to do is get Arch. I have no idea. Like, I mean, their offense is still decent. So it's not like they're tossing everything away. But I know when Micah Parsons isn't on that field for the Cowboys over the last few seasons, they're not the same defense. He brings so much pressure off the edge that the quarterbacks have to get the ball out of their hands quicker, which makes the DBs better. The offensive coordinators have to devise plans to slide protections and everything else and chip and it takes people out of their route combinations. So now not having to worry about that, I think it's going to be a field day for those teams, especially the Commanders and the Eagles, who I think are head and shoulders above the Cowboys at this point.
Oh, easily. That's the problem. You're taking away a phenomenal pass rush, and you have two of the most elite rushing quarterbacks in the league.
Yeah, and I mean, not to mention, like, Micah Parsons would give Lane some fits, right? Now you don't have that there, so now he, knock on wood, but he should be able to dominate that side of the ball. You still have Saquon running the ball too. Like the Cowboys, I don't think are going to be able to stop the juggernaut that is the Eagles next week, and then from there on out, like I feel like the Cowboys now, where I thought that they probably could have 10 wins because their offense is so good because they could get pressure on the quarterback, maybe 7. I think he's worth 3. I think he's worth 3 victories. I really do.
I honestly don't know this year. I think they're in a difficult way, and honestly, I really could.
I mean, they might be able to. Like, you got Jameis Winston over there eating dubs. So if he's ready to give Jackson Dart a dub or Russell Wilson a dub to eat, like, maybe they do beat the Cowboys because I'm thinking that those are 2 victories, but if they end up losing one to the Giants too, like, they're in big trouble. So a definite loss when it comes to the Cowboys' perspective of this. I don't like they can sit here and try and save face, but I don't see how with the haul that they got, only it's only 2 picks. It's 2 picks and a player. Like you said, the player could be he's getting on that other side of 30. He could get injured. I just the 2 first-round picks is the part that is like, okay, that's great. You got 2 first-round picks, but if they're first-round picks in the 20s and you have a pick in the late teens in the 20s, I don't know if these 2 first-round picks are going to be the ones that are like, oh, wow. Like, it's not like you're having a 1 and a 5. Now, maybe you can bundle the 2 picks next year and trade down and maybe get, if Arch Manning does come out, maybe you can get down and package those picks for him. And if they were able to do that, then I could revisit the trade and be like, okay, if you're getting a young generational quarterback that's on a rookie deal that now you can supply some other weapons to or for, then maybe this was all worth it. But as of right now, no, it's not. And they could have taken much, much more from the Packers.
Well, and you look at Dak Prescott's 28.
Yeah.
So I mean that's a.
But I do feel like Jerry would just be like, okay, if we got a young quarterback that is, that's special, we could release Dak, take the hit on the cap. You're only paying the young quarterback X amount of dollars anyway. So now it's just like, oh, it's like we just have Dak still, but now you've turned over the reins, So I don't know if that last couple of years of Dak would make a difference when it comes to that stuff.
Yeah, I don't know. I think it's a little risky. 2 1s and hope to find a perennial.
I mean, that's what I'm saying. Like, as of right now, this is not the deal. And I haven't watched it yet, just because as an Eagles fan, I just don't know if I want to sit through a whole. I don't know what the adjective I want to use for the Dallas documentary on Netflix, but I mean, I guess I could use the same one that somebody else said this week, and it was a hand job to Jerry Jones. So we'll use that one. But like, you're going to sit there and think that the way that they presented it was, Jerry's the mastermind behind that Herschel Walker trade, and Jimmy didn't have that much to do with it. It's a false narrative, because Jimmy had everything to do with it, and he was the one picking those guys when they took Russell Maryland and when they took all those guys from the Herschel Walker trade, and were able to get Emmett and everybody. Like, so it's like, I don't see the brain trust right now in Dallas being able to pull off those capers that they were able to in the early 90s, where it was like, how'd you get him and him and him and him? Like, this whole trade thing, like, worked crazy for them in the early 90s and led them to those Super Bowls. So it's like, I don't think that we're going to sit back next year and be like, okay, this makes perfect sense now. So I think Dallas takes a huge step back. What do you think the ceiling is now for the Packers? Now that we know that Dallas, their ceiling is probably, 10 wins to, 500 as their ceiling. What do we think about Dallas? I mean, Green Bay.
I mean, honestly, if you're looking at the ceiling, there's no reason they Lombardi home. I mean, like I said, it all depends on life. It really does, 100%.
And then you ask yourself, as a Bears fan, as an Eagles fan, like, okay, if we had to trade 2 number ones and we got a generational player, and we won a Super Bowl in the first 2 years of that situation, would it be all worth it? Yep.
100%.
Yep, it would. I would live in cap hell and everything that comes with it after, if it meant that in the next 2 years I'm hoisting the trophy at the end and I'm loving life. Like, I'm totally for it. The best part. What's that?
Perfect example.
Exactly. That's
what happens?
Win Super Bowl. Everything's worth it. And they still haven't hit rock bottom, even when they thought they were hitting rock bottom. Oh, we're going to get rid of everybody that we got. We'll keep Stafford, and he still plays decent enough to like do some damage. And of all the teams that the Eagles played in the playoffs last year, that was the one game. Like, the Rams played them tough because they draft the right players.
And coaching.
Well, yeah, coaching does matter. Coaching does matter. You're 1,000% correct. Yeah, the ceiling to me too is the trophy. Like, they can win the Super Bowl this year. They can win it any of the next 3 or 4 years. But
maybe that Swift and Kelsey will have that trophy, but we'll talk about that later.
I agree 1,000% with that. Like, it's definitely happening. She's gonna play the halftime show, and he's gonna win the trophy, and I don't know. Maybe she announces that she's pregnant after the game. I don't know. Something crazy is going to happen though. Maybe
as well.
they're just going to get married on the field after the game. Something, but I don't know. I'm here for it. It was like a holiday. Yes, or was it yesterday or the day before? Like it was the day before when pumpkin spice came back to Starbucks, and then Taylor and Travis get engaged. I was like, I don't know. I was throwing stuff in the classroom. I was happy. So, I don't know. I think getting back to the trade, I think the funniest part to me is that it's only a 4-year deal. Like I know you can't extend him too much more than that, but 4 seemed kind of short. And so you're looking at when this deal's over, he's an 8-year pro. Like he'll still have some gas left in that tank. Maybe he'll go to Philly. I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah, I'll go there.
Maybe he'll go to Philly. So the other thing I saw too was it was a thing on it was him and Reggie White are the only 2 players to get like 12 sacks in 4 straight years and then get onto the Packer or get onto a different team. And so it's funny that it's on to the Packers for him as well. I mean, I wish it was the Eagles, but it's okay.
I mean, I can say this. What goes in,
right? What it comes down to is I'm still shocked that it is somebody in the NFC. Like they should not.
Even good.
They should not have traded somebody in the NFC. Like I don't know what they were really thinking on that one. Like you can't tell me that there wasn't a team out there that was like, all right, let's give up 2 first-round picks. It sort of comes back to like, it almost feels a little bit like the Lamar stuff. Like when Detroit had those 2 first-round picks, and I was like, unless you're super happy with Jared Goff, and then obviously they are, but like having Lamar as their quarterback, I'd probably want Lamar more, but that's maybe just me. But if you only had to give up 2 first-round picks and you had 2 that year, I would have given up one of the picks that year. The next year, give up another first-round pick, and you still get 1 first-round pick in Lamar Jackson. Like I would have, if I was Detroit that year, I would have done it because
100%.
I think the upgrade with what Lamar does, and Lamar goes out and wins the MVP that year too. So,
Yeah.
So it's one of those things of like I don't necessarily know why teams don't act on that type of stuff, because unless they're just in cap hell, like if it just comes down to money, we can't pay this person that much, because if we pay a rookie, we can actually build around him. Where to me, it's like, nah, you get the superstar as fast as you can. It's like when the Eagles got AJ Brown, like that was the piece that we were missing. Like we needed a number 1 receiver, and he's a beast. And so when he plays, the Eagles offense is almost unstoppable, because you have Smitty on the other side, who reminds me of Marvin Harrison. AJ is a beast. It looks like T.O. to me. And it opens up the run game. And if you want to try and stop the run, now you're dealing with what the Chiefs had to deal with in the Super Bowl. A quarterback that can get the ball to one-on-one coverage because the receivers are just that much better. But I don't know. Maybe I should be a GM in my next life.
Well, I'm still a firm believer in anyway.
Yeah.
I think you build up, you try to keep his person growing.
Yeah, I'm all about instant gratification. So let me trade. I would be like Mike Ditka in that 99 draft. I'd be like, just give me my guy that I need, and I don't even care about all these other people's. Like, just take them. And unfortunately, not having 7 picks compared to just taking Ricky. Like, you almost needed, like, take half my draft so I can get some offensive linemen for him so that we can block. But, you know, he needed his guy.
Or Ricky Williams.
So, all right, man, that's it. Like, it's a quick little show today, and I'm looking forward to running it back and doing some fun stuff this season. Like I said, we're going to be trying to throw this thing up on YouTube and get the little videos. So we're going to maybe have to get some like backing things and some graphics and all this cool stuff. But for right now, just deal with the lights on the bald head, and we'll see how it goes the rest of the season. Next week, we'll hit it up again and go from there. And so the preview show will be next week before the Eagles Cowboys hop on a field, and then every week after that, we're just breaking down like we always do. So that's it. For Josh, I'm Pat. This is Blackjack Movies, Present Sports, and we're out.